Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Myriad Uranium's channel with globalized exploration assets with focus in the prolific mining districts of Africa and seeing uranium grades as high as the Canadian Athabasca, as we mentioned in the past. But today we're going to do a broader kind of investor Q&A, talk about some recent news, financing. We're going to talk about these fires here in Canada. We're going to be talking about the future of uranium, and we have the privilege of Director Thomas Lamb here that's going to take us through some of these questioning. First and foremost, welcome back, sir.
Thanks. Good to see you, Kyle.
It was a pleasure to get you on in these fascinating times that never seem to desist here, I guess, if that's the right word for it. But nonetheless, let's kind of get into this before we get into the intriguing Q&A side of it. I mean, you just recently announced the first tranche of a private placement financing, raising $530,000. Do you want to discuss this raise, kind of what the capital is going to be used for, and just talk about what it means for Myriad?
Yeah, great. No, we're very happy. The markets are for juniors are choppy. And we're really happy. We got a lot of inbound interest. We raised $530,000 this first tranche. That's at 30 cents with a quite a juicy 35-cent half warrant. Yeah, lots of inbound interest. It's a bit of an in-between raise. We're using it for general purposes, but in particular, some geophysics that we're doing right now. Everybody's on the ground in Niger. This is going to identify the faults and then how the faults go through the subsurface down fairly deep, actually. So this is going to be drone mag, which in particular maps the surface, near surface, and then electrical methods that go deeper and give us an idea of the subsurface. And this is so we can hopefully emulate Global Atomic's success up the street. This is a few kilometers, especially to our east, where they've made Africa's best uranium discovery global. It's called DASA. And so that's the main use of proceeds. We're going to have a bit of extra money after that. We'll be in a really good position at the end of the summer, the Northern Hemisphere, end of summer. And we're going to hopefully have some really nice drill targets, which, if the stars align, this is our plan. We'll be drilling starting in early October. But it's exciting times ahead.
I appreciate those insights for sure. And I really kind of think it's intriguing to see the evolution of every business. I know last time we kind of touched on here in Canada, I always notice when people do geophysics, they've used helicopters, but you're talking about drones. Yeah. It's just intriguing to see the advancements on even just the run of mining and probably the money that saves too. But I want to kind of round this conversation off, and we're going to talk about some of the catalysts and expand on some of the stuff you mentioned, but let's kind of just wind it back a little bit. For those of you that have been paying attention, uranium just hit a 1-year high. It's not back to all-time highs, but it is trucking up. And I mean, we're talking about decade highs still for the prices. And I know your opinion might be fairly biased here, but what's your thoughts on this?
Well, it is. I mean, I'm into this now, and the more you look at it, the deeper you look, the more compelling. I think it's universal. I don't know of anybody that doesn't think that uranium's going higher and significantly higher. It is one of these things you can look at supply demand. That is all pointing in the right direction for the prices to go higher. Not a lot of big mines coming on stream, maybe none. These big Athabasca discoveries, next gen, et cetera, it's years and years away from production. And the world is building and maintaining big nuclear power plants like crazy. And then you've got small modular reactors that are going to be coming on. Those are going to consume lots of uranium too, et cetera, et cetera. So the demand side is there. It's going up, up, up. Supply, very interesting situation. First of all, supply is constrained in the first place, but you've got the whole former Soviet Union issue, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, what that means for geopolitics. Will Western utilities buy out of Russia? A lot of it comes out of St. Petersburg, the fuel rods, et cetera. And a lot of the in-between steps happen in Russia. How's Kazakhstan going to get its uranium out if the West is not buying from St. Petersburg? Has to travel over the Caucasus. It's very tight there, volume-wise, what can go through there. Kazakhstan, the big producer, sits between China and Russia, and et cetera. And Kazakhstan itself, they all want to build up inventories and control production there. So where is the West going to get its uranium? Big question. Things are going to get tight. Prices should go up. Spot price going up. It's exciting times for the uranium price. And I'll just mention, look back to 2007, 8, 9. When that happens, uranium spikes like crazy, and the junior equities just rocket up, and it's exciting times.
Yeah, and I might sound like a broken record, but I always love the anecdote that people don't understand that uranium has a lower carbon footprint than the likes of solar. And as you mentioned, between the Russian-Ukraine war, how much that spiked oil, I'm really surprised uranium hasn't spiked higher, considering they're one of the major, those two countries are huge export providers globally. And then you got China. China's obviously like bringing on dozens of reactors over, I think by 2030, they're going crazy. But I want to pivot a little bit here from the uranium side of it, because you do have this diversified portfolio of assets. And I think there's been a lot of conversation, especially in the mining areas in Canada, considering these fires that have been just taking over the country. Quebec just recently announced that they're stopping the exploration efforts of all mining companies for the time being, just to not spark this any farther. And I know you have your gold assets in Nova Scotia, but obviously your African assets are your baby in Niger. I mean, obviously that's the conversation of choice. But do you want to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Nova Scotia asset? Is this affecting you guys? Give us some insights there.
Sure. Lucky for us. So we have a very nice gold asset in Nova Scotia. It's a 50-50 deal with Probe Metals. We're excited about that asset ourselves, but of course, gold juniors are not in favor at the moment. So we're in a really good position here. We can let that sit. It's not going anywhere. And so we don't have to be active this summer, lucky for us. We're going to take a step back, wait for the gold, market for gold juniors to recover before we get active there. So the fires don't affect us too much. We're very sorry for what's happening in Nova Scotia. We're aware of it. We're monitoring. We've got Fred Bonner, our director, who's over there, lives there, works there, and he's keeping an eye on everything. Very tough situation for everybody. But lucky for us, in a way, we get to wait a little while. So we'll be making some decisions about, our Nova Scotia asset, in the coming months, probably early fall in Canada. But it's tough out there with these forest fires. It's affecting everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely intriguing for sure. It just insane, especially if you live in the cities. I mean, you're seeing the smog everywhere. But let's roll back a little bit here and kind of go back to the conversation that you were bringing into the milestone aspect of things, the drill program, getting some of the geophysics, all that stuff. But from a milestone perspective, as a broad-based view, some of these investor questions here from a timeline perspective. I mean, forget even just this year. What catalyst do you think is going to be the pivotal moment for Myriad?
So they're catalysts specific to us, and then there are catalysts in the basin in Niger that are sort of general, that will help us a lot, and then there are the big catalysts globally. I'll just start globally. The next group of uranium deposits that are going to come on stream, their economics are around $65, $70, $80 uranium. They need that uranium pricing to be built and start producing. So because of the supply demand we talked about earlier, price will be pulled up there and probably beyond. So that's an exciting catalyst that's coming. In Niger, Niger is currently, depending on which measure, maybe fifth largest producer of uranium in the world. It's a focus. The West is focused on it because, like we just mentioned, Kazakhstan is uncertain. Other jurisdictions in former Soviet Union uncertain for supply to the West. Niger, I believe, and others believe, that Niger is going to be the hotspot for uranium production. There are only a few companies there. Ourselves, Global Atomic, GoBX, Orano is a big French state-owned company, and then one other, ENRG, which is out of Australia. It's a small company. It's comparable to us. So the world is turning its attention to Niger. Sooner or later, everybody's going to be, laser focused. All of a sudden, everybody's going to realize that Niger is the place. Stable, exciting, high uranium grades, highest in Africa, very prolific, and so that's going to be a big catalyst for us. We've got a massive land package, over 1,800 square kilometers, the prime licenses right next to Africa's largest deposit, Africa's highest grade deposit. That's Global Atomic's DASA. So as the world turns its attention to Niger, we're going to benefit. We've got great licenses, lots of historic work. We've got uranium. We're going to try to make some big discoveries. Okay. Myriad itself, catalyst for us. So we're doing geophysics right now. I mentioned MEG. We're going to do some electrical method stuff to map the subsurface. We're going to layer on the existing data. We have Ron Hallis, just recent past chief operating officer of Global Atomic, which used to be our market cap, 7-8 million, now $600-700 million company. He's on our technical committee. We're going to add bench strength to enable us to make major discoveries. And so we've got geophysics, historic data, insights from Global Atomic's big discovery. We're also near Orano's Immeraren and Goviax. Layer all that together, drill targets. We're going to have a whole pile of really exciting drill targets, and those are going to be really appealing to investors, bankers, everybody, analysts, etc. We could make some major discoveries. Then the next catalyst is we drill and look at what we're going to find. We're going to see what we're going to find. Of course, there are no guarantees, but we're excited. So the drilling. Beyond that, one more thing, lots of M&A potential in Niger. We've got so much acreage that is very high quality. And we have areas that we are looking at that are interesting to us. And we get pitched a lot to in terms of us making acquisitions or others picking up some of our ground or joint venturing it. So, those are the catalysts coming up. Exciting times ahead. I'm psyched. That's why I'm here.
Well, on that, I'll pass the question on to the viewers. As always, we'd love to know what you think, so we can continue doing some of these Q&As perhaps down the road, and subscribe for those news as it hits the wire. We're obviously going to bring that to you here, but as always, we'll catch you in the next one.
Cheers.